Did you know that Nintendo's most faithful remake is also the most criticized for being too faithful? Star Fox is back after years of waiting. It looks spectacular, it feels incredible, but several reviews agree on something that could spoil the surprise. Today, I'll tell you the best and worst of Star Fox, unfiltered. The brutal. Let's start with the obvious. This game looks incredible. We're talking about a remake that runs in 4K at 60 frames per second, with lighting that makes the light from your shots reflect off surfaces and even illuminate dark caves. Every planet you explored in the Nintendo 64 version was redesigned from the ground up to feel like a completely different place. Corneria is now a battlefield filled with smoke and destruction. Ficina has snow that sticks to the camera before melting, and Solar blinds you with flashes that illuminate the R-Wing from below. The variety of environments has always been a strength of the series, and here they exploit it to the fullest. And it's not just that it looks beautiful, the controls have taken a giant leap forward. Now you have dual-stick controls, one for moving your ship and the other for aiming, giving you a level of precision the original never had. If you want something even more immersive, you can separate the controls and play in mouse mode, switching to a first-person perspective. Shooting, braking, accelerating, everything feels more agile and responsive than ever. Another fantastic feature, the cutscenes. There are now full animated sequences between each mission, and they're not just visual filler. They give weight to the decisions you make about which route to take, because General Pepper explains the strategic importance of each planet before you decide. The characters also feel more human, with Falco showing his arrogant side but gradually earning your respect, Peppy acting as the reliable mentor, and Slippy going from being just the clumsy one of the group to becoming the team's mechanical brain. The faithfulness to the original also works in its favor. The alternate routes, performance medals, and secret paths remain intact, and now there's a menu that explains exactly what you need to do to unlock each route if you don't want to rely on your 30-year-old memory. Challenge mode is also a plus. Once you complete a level, you can replay it with extra objectives, giving you a real reason to keep coming back. And the multiplayer, while not perfect, brings some interesting new features. 4 versus 4 team battles with objective-based modes like stealing pirate cargo, dominating zones, or collecting meteorites, all online with automatic matchmaking. Add to that camera filters for group chats and the option to play in pairs, with one controlling the ship and the other aiming. The orchestrated soundtrack gives the whole thing a space opera feel that's epic from beginning to end. The ugly. Now for the uncomfortable part. The first thing almost every review mentions, the campaign is incredibly short. We're talking about roughly an hour and a half to complete, and if you've already played the original in any of its forms, you're basically replaying the same content you already know by heart. This raises an uncomfortable question. Is it worth paying full price for something you can technically already play elsewhere? Several reviews directly warn that if you're a player who's already finished the original game, it's hard to recommend playing it again almost exactly. The multiplayer, while fun, feels incomplete. It's more like a demonstration of what it could be than a robust experience. There's no real progression beyond a few cosmetic medals, and you only have a handful of game modes. It feels like it's barely scratching the surface of its potential. And to top it all off, there's no local split screen, something many players were hoping for to play on the couch with friends without relying on the internet. Another recurring problem, the visual fidelity, paradoxically, makes the game harder to read. With so much detail on screen, it's easier to lose sight of a fleeing enemy. In boss fights, weak points no longer stand out as clearly as they did in the original, and they don't glow with the same intensity when you land a hit, leaving you wondering if you're actually doing any damage. There are even complaints that the explosions of large ships look strangely lightweight, as if they lack the impact that the new graphical fidelity should convey. The control scheme also has an annoying detail. If you invert the vertical axis at the beginning of the game, you have to do it again separately when you reach the tank and submarine levels. A small detail, but one that shouldn't exist in a game released in 2026. And while the voice acting improved the overall characterization according to some reviews, Others point out that the most iconic lines from the original version lost the endearing overacting that made them memorable. That slightly cheesy exaggeration that made lines like the attack orders funny is simply gone. Finally, the normal difficulty is surprisingly easy. It's common to finish the game with more than 10 lives to spare, and to unlock expert difficulty, you need to get medals on every mission, which means replaying the entire campaign from scratch several times, because you can't just repeat a specific mission whenever you want. And there you have it, a spectacular remake on the outside, but with questionable decisions on the inside. Have you played it yet? Let me know in the comments if you think it's worth it, or if you prefer to stick with the nostalgia of the original. If you liked this review, give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. See you in the next one!